Hi, this is John Fritz from the Division of Information Technology, and I want to make a case for why people should use the frequently asked questions knowledge base, especially support staff. Now, the first question people might be asking is, what is an FAQ? They stand for frequently asked questions, and in IT circles, we use these a lot to try to help people. At UMBC, we've been using this for quite a while now, and we particularly like to follow this, what I call a show and tell approach. So typically, if there's something that we want people to know how to do, we'll show them in a short video and then also provide the instructions in a tell me kind of recipe cookbook that follows beneath it. Where are the FAQs? At the main web address, umbc.edu/FAQs. Now, a couple things I'd like to point out. If you need help, use the request help button right away. But if you can start here first, it can be a great way to try to help yourself. What's also nice about this is that you can do this anytime you want. It's not tied to when our support staff are available to answer a question. At the same time, if there's something that you see is not very good, you can either correct an article, or if you think that we're missing something, go ahead and suggest an article. That's a great way to help us as well. Now, I know what a lot of people might be thinking is, why not just use RT? And to be sure, RT has been used very well on the campus. Very few campuses have a single call tracking or support tracking system. A few years ago, we even hit 1 million tickets. And that's great. And a lot of departments have been doing a great job with it. The challenge is just in terms of, what does it mean to have that many tickets, and in terms of support staff and what you need to do it. In fact, for the last couple of years, every fiscal year we always do sort of a 4-year review. We've been doing this since about 2011. And this shows how campus use of RT is being used across the university. Now, the only thing I would point out here, there's others who have been using RT more than we have. It didn't start out that way. In IT, we typically have about 25,000 tickets a year. But the one thing I would just notice is that the trajectory of rate of increase has actually is much shallower than some of the other units, and it actually dropped down in our most recent fiscal year. And a lot of this, we think, has to do with how we're trying to encourage people to help themselves. And so, one of the ways we're doing that is through the FAQs. And what you'll notice here is that even in this most recent fiscal year, we almost had 1 million page views. When we first started doing this in 2011, we had maybe 3,000 page views. So we really made an intentional focus to make use of the FAQs more prevalent in how we do things. This is kind of another view of how the data looks over the last year up to last summer. And what's interesting is just kind of everything kind of follows the same pattern and trend, but you will see some hiccups, from one year to the next. So for this most recent year, something happened in March where we had a big spike, and then also things kind of tailed off. So each year is different, but you can also see some kind of patterns and trends that are the same. One of the things that we've noticed is that the MyUMBC search engine is where we get a lot of traffic, as well as Blackboard, the Do It website, and DocuSign as well. But what's interesting is that if somebody is searching for something in MyUMBC, in this case, maybe how to change their password, we can actually recommend FAQs based on what people are typing in. And so if you have an FAQ on a key search term, we could put it in here and people would be able to find it and help themselves. Over the years, we see some common search topics. These are ones from FY19. You might see some of your topics in here. If so, we might want to put some FAQs in there. Now, I know in terms of this big green unknown, that really is where people might have only typed in a few letters, say BL for Blackboard, and we immediately offer a recommended FAQ, and people might go to that, but all we get in terms of the search term is the BL, or maybe people have abandoned the search, and so we don't know exactly what they have done here. In terms of sort of the how the FAQ searches from MyUMBC are used by affiliation, by far and away, the largest is the undergrad students, but we also have other populations that are using it as well. One of the things that we've been working with a little bit lately here is a chat bot, or what we're calling retriever bot, where if somebody wanted to, they can type in, I want to know how to change my password, and the chat bot will scan through the FAQs and present that FAQ article to them. Now, at this point, it's only IT related, but we would love to be able to extend this to other topics that are not IT. And as more people use the FAQs and find them helpful, they're going to want to find other topics that they might need help for as well. And this is a good way you could do it. So in this case, if somebody was trying to change their password, we could click on the link here, and then it would come back to that FAQ that I showed at the beginning. So I want to talk a little bit about the best way to use FAQs. First of all, you should be identifying what are the most common support requests that you're getting. If you are answering a question, more than twice, you really ought to be asking yourself, do you want to keep typing the same answer to the same question? If you are, this is a good candidate for an FAQ. Like I said, we like the show and tell Q&A format. It's a great way for people to see and also kind of follow step-by-step instructions. This next bullet is the one that I would really like to emphasize, is that make resolving RT tickets, make use of an FAQ an acceptable initial resolution to an RT ticket. So if you have put in the time to really hone in on what are people asking for, you've given it your best shot in terms of the documentation, if you can do both the show and tell, then use those FAQs to solve RT tickets. The other thing you can do is deep link to the FAQs on your website rather than having them as a standalone option. And then we've talked a little bit about Retriever Bot as well. So as you might expect, we have FAQs about FAQs, including how you create one. It's not difficult. It's a pretty structured process. If you go to the top of the yellow Create button, you see the three little dots right there. If you click that, you'll even see a template for both an article or a collection, which is a collection of articles. So an FAQ article is on a single topic, on a single task, and then the collection might be multiple tasks that somebody might want to know in terms of how to get something done. Again, I've already mentioned that it's great if you can deep link to the FAQs on your site. These are some examples. These go to FAQ collections. We could type that information on this site, but if you send them to the FAQ Central collection, chances are they might look for other FAQs on other topics besides your own, and then it becomes something that we are all supporting and feeding. This is an example of how you might want to use an FAQ to resolve a ticket. So here's one of our students helping somebody get their account set up. We could type all of these instructions into the ticket, but if we just make the link to it, the user can go click that. And then we go out of our way to tell them, if this doesn't solve the problem, just email back, it'll reopen the ticket, or they can call, and then we know whether or not we had not only a good FAQ, but that we applied it at the right time. We've even gone so far as to create sort of a ticket grading rubric. We don't do it as much as we used to do because we've sort of gotten the hang of it, but the idea here was that if we do a review of all of our support, an A resolution is one where we not only solve the problem, but that we also referred the user back to the FAQ, again, sort of planting that seed that that's a place where they can go back to as well. So if you want to, I put in the URL here if you want to take a closer look at what the ticket grading rubric is. But it's a useful way to think about integrating the FAQs and the RT tickets so that you're being more intentional with the knowledge that you've curated, and now you want to put it to good use. We've even gotten so far as starting to do what's called auto-resolve tickets. We know the kinds of questions that we're going to be getting all the time. This is one that we get all the time from both students and faculty. It has to do with whether or not the course has been made available, or in some cases, whether or not the auto-creation script had all of the information in PeopleSoft to be able to generate the Blackboard course. Anyway, these are some things that we can do where the user puts in this request, they will get an auto-resolve ticket that goes right to the FAQ. Again, with the caveat that if they don't feel like it was helpful, they can just hit reply, reopen the ticket, and then somebody will work with them directly. A couple of things that we have seen over time is that we're just getting fewer phone calls to our technology support center. We're getting fewer tickets. And our student consultants are doing more. When we first started doing this, they were doing not much more than being receptionists and entering in tickets. Now they're resolving over 50% of the support requests that we get. The student staffing has decreased considerably, but in recent years it's gone up as we've just increased student wages with minimum wage. But what I would just say generally is that students are doing more, and that as users are doing more to help themselves, it frees up support staff to focus on things that are truly complex that a user could not be expected to try to solve that problem on his or her own. One of the things that we've noticed even as we're using more FAQs is that user satisfaction does not necessarily seem to be getting worse. In fact, it's stayed pretty high over the recent years. This is a bar graph of people who have taken the time to complete the optional survey, and more often than not, 88 to 90% we get excellent ratings. What I can say is that when we get notifications of all of these things, if there's a getting worse or unacceptable, one of the managers in DoIT will immediately take a look at that if it's in his or her area, and follow up with that person and ask them, to learn a little bit more, what could we have done better? And more often than not, I have seen people who gave us a poor rating change that rating because they didn't expect somebody to follow up with them. But by being notified and having generally a pretty high bar of satisfaction, those issues that, could have been better, they stand out, and it gets our attention, and it's a good call to arms in terms of trying to follow up to try to turn things around. If you want to know more, you can go to this website, doit.umbc.edu/support. We've actually written articles and given presentations about our use of the FAQs to try to take a knowledge management approach to service management. This is the article that a colleague of mine, Andrea, and I had presented at a conference. It was back in 2015, but it's still pretty relevant, and I think you might find some of the same issues are in play. And then lastly, I just want to close on a success story that Andrea had shared with us as well, where a professor stopped by and asked if the FAQs could be accessed by anyone, and then said, so I can search there first, and if I can find the answer, then I can contact you. And what I love about this was the 8 clapping hands at the bottom. So if you have any questions, let us know. But this is our case for why you should use the FAQs. Thank you.